The first thing we did when we stopped in Nelson was to look around my mother's hometown. I'd never seen the South Island before, even though I'm a New Zealander. One of the reasons we decided to go to New Zealand first. I took the ferry across to Wellington and borrowed a car from my brother. We managed to use the car to look at all the places internal at the north end of the South Island. Then we headed off to Marlborough Sounds. We had to go up past D'Urville Island, where there's a very, very narrow pass called French Pass, and the tide race through there means you must go through at low tide. And even at low tide you could see the fall in the water like the fall in a river, as the swirling whirlpools nearly took control of the steering of the boat. Quite a radical place to be. And then around through Cook Strait, one of the most infamous pieces of water in the world, up Tory Channel and into Marlborough Sounds. What a fantastic waterway to sail. What a privilege to have gone there. We came out of there after a couple of weeks of looking around and spending some time in Picton, and I was going down the Kaikoura coast, which is the northeast as you travel south, going down the South Island of New Zealand. And I was listening to the HF radio, and there were some guys talking about a disaster. So I turned on the radio to find out that an aeroplane had just flown into the Pentagon. And I couldn't believe my ears. So I called the first mate up to listen to the radio, saying that yes, now another one's just flown into the Twin Towers. And she says, oh yeah, sounds like a good joke. I says, no, it's true. We were so shocked, as everybody that was that day. Everybody remembers where they were on September the 11th. We were sailing south down the Kaikoura coast in beautiful conditions with the snow-capped mountains to our east, and our destination was Akaroa, which is just south of Christchurch. Akaroa is actually an extinct volcano, and Captain Cook put it on his original map as an island, and he put Stewart Island, which is at the bottom of South Island, as a peninsula. In fact, he got them round the wrong way, but he was doing his mapping from offshore to keep his sea room. So we had a lovely time in Akaroa. We stayed there for 3 months, bought a big ship's compass, made some good friends there, and also used the car to look all over the central and southern parts of the South Island. A trip of a lifetime. This circumnavigation of the South Island, which is in my book, The 3 Circumnavigations, took 1 year. So we eventually got down to Dunedin, didn't like Dunedin, stocked up on food because we knew we were going round to the west coast, where there is no roads, no transport, nothing there. It's national park for all the first 18 fjords of Fiordland. But before going there, we had the privilege of going to Stewart Island, and Stewart Island is a magic place. We got as far as 47 degrees south. Now the roaring 40s start at 40 degrees south, and we were there at high summer. It's quite rough to cross the Pusica Sea between the bottom of New Zealand and Stewart Island, and it was very grey, dirty weather when we made our sail from Dunedin into Half Moon Bay and the little town of Oban, with very few people living in that place. We went around, we got our last vegetables, and then because we knew we were going right down to Port Pegasus, and went round the corner, anchored, and in came this huge, best way of describing it would be a rich man's yacht with a jet squirrel helicopter sitting on the back end. So here we were, anchored next to this little island called Twilight Island, and this huge multi-million-dollar yacht next to us. We thought we were Christmas. Anyhow, we looked around that area, went down and stayed at a place where the Norwegians used to have a sealing base, and there were a whole lot of props, old cast iron props from the steamships of the old days that were left at the place where they did all their engineering. And I put one of the props that I smashed in an incident in flying an RV-4, a home-built aircraft, amongst all the props and took a photograph, working it out that that was the place where props went to die. We came up to a little place called Sailor's Rest, which was going through a tiny little cut into just basically a pond. And the weather came up, we knew it was coming up, and it blew 100 kilometres an hour outside. And inside that little place, only room for 2 boats in there, was hardly a breath of wind. No sea conditions or roll managed to get in through the pass. What a bulletproof anchorage it was. Then the next exercise was to go down to the gem of Stewart Island, which is Port Pusica. In the old days, the big square riggers used to come round the bottom of New Zealand and they would turn into Port Pusica, and there is a harbour, a natural harbour there, very deep water, absolutely protected from westerlies, and you could put 100 square riggers in there and there'd still be room for many. What a fabulous place. So much sea life. The seals, the birds, the bird life, the petrels, the little mutton birds. The fishing there is unbelievable. The way you work with blue cod, which is a table fish, it's about so long, quite a large mouth being a cod, is you get some mussel off the rocks, you put it on a large hook, you put your line over the side, you count 1, 2, 3, you pull. You've either lost your bait or you've got a blue cod. At $25 per kilo as a table fish in New Zealand, we had so much blue cod we got sick of it. That with lobsters, abalone with a little bit of diving we did, but very cold water. So the next video we will tell you about the absolute piece de resistance of all my sailing career. That is Fiordland, New Zealand, a place that's very rarely visited by any sailors.